Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to today's session on branding for trainers. Branding for trainers. That's what we are talking about today. And I'm very, very happy to have our guest with us. And I'm soon going to get her online, Tanvi Bhatt. But before we come on to that, let me just say a few things about what I have on branding. So I know that we have been, we as trainers always focus, and that's what happened in my life. We kept focusing on content. The whole focus was that I need to be a good trainer. I need to have my content very, very professionally placed. I need to be able to deliver. I should be a damn good speaker. I should be a good communicator, and I should be able to get to results of my workshop. That's all what I used to focus on. But we never looked at branding. We never looked at marketing. And so last time we had spoken with Chandar Sharma, and he told us the importance of marketing and particularly sales. So, how important it is for trainers to be concentrating on marketing and sales. But today we are going to be going a step further and talking about branding. And we're going to say, what does this branding really mean? How do trainers get into it? And what are the nuances? What are the challenges? So here I will like all of you who are attending right now to please let us know your challenges. So thank you, Ruchita Jain. Ruchita Jain is joined and she said true. Yeah. So anyone who has, and I see a couple of you are already there, but I don't have your names. So one is, please keep writing your names and keep letting us know if you have any questions so that we can keep focusing on that, right? So this is a very, very important thing for us in training, and that is to understand that as a trainer, when I need to deliver my subject, it is not just about my subject, it's also about how it is packaged, how it is delivered, how it is received by people, how you position yourself. All these things in totality will make you a good trainer. So I'm going to now get Tanvi Bhatt on the screen for you. And here she is. Thank you, Tanvi. Thank you very much for coming on this show. I'm extremely grateful to you for accepting our invitation. And having known Tanvi from a few years now, I think 2019, January onwards, that I've known her, I haven't come across a brand stylist better than her in India. So for me, she is the number one in India. And Tanvi, welcome. And I will like you to introduce yourself to the audience because I think you will do it much better than I will do. So over to you.
Certainly. Thank you so much, Brigadier, for hosting me today and inviting me on your VSB LinkedIn Live. I have been an entrepreneur for the last decade now. I got into entrepreneurship straight out of my B school, wanting to build a company which focused on corporate excellence and public speaking coaching because that's an area of deep passion for me, something that I have been a student of for the last 15 plus years of my life. And I wanted to build a company around that and help more and more people understand, experience, and showcase the magic of public speaking, of mastering stagecraft, and going on every stage that they can possibly be on and own that stage. That was my dream when I started out after my B school, and it was very funny because I was looking at doing it in the very organic way that I knew back then because I was fresh out of B school. I had no idea how to really build a business, and I realized it would be very, very, very helpful for me if there was somebody who could coach me, mentor me, and how do I build my own brand so that I don't have to keep on being salesy, don't have to keep on pushing myself out there as a trainer, as a coach. But I can invite people in. I should have that magnetism, that charisma, that authorityship in the industry that people want to work with and only with me. That was the dream back then. So I started looking around and who could possibly help me do that, achieve that. And I realized there was nobody doing remotely anything similar to that level of personal brand coaching and strategy that I wanted at that point of time. First, I was disappointed naturally because I'm like, okay, now what am I going to do? But then on further research, I realized that there's actually an industry of personal branding in the West, which was like a multi-million dollar industry. And this is not even 1980s I'm talking about 2011, right? Social media was here already, but just in India, it wasn't an industry per se back then. So I realized, okay, brilliant. If there is something like this, I'm going to be the first one to probably bring it into India, do some amazing work around it. Not only, of course, build my own brand, build my own business, but help more and more people because I'm sure if I needed that at a fresh start out of B school, imagine there are so many more experienced people who could benefit from something like this offered to them. Those were the humble beginnings. That's how I got into the industry, got the pleasure and the privilege of having a lot many firsts to my credit thereafter, got some amazing companies to support me, to work with me, to give me the opportunities to work with their leaders and senior leaders, some amazing entrepreneurs, thought leaders who trusted me, believed in my vision and the value proposition that I had to offer. And it's been a roller coaster ride over the last 9 years. So much learning, so much growth, so much evolution of my own being, my own personality, my own legacy that I'm trying to build today, one day at a time. And if I have to look back and say, would you give up anything for what you've had, or would you do anything differently? Probably not. I don't think I would give up any of the lessons, learnings, ups, downs, successes, failures that I've had the liberty to experience, had the pleasure to experience. But at the same time, I would have done a few things differently. And that is exactly what I want to share today.
Thank you very much. I think that was profound and valuable. Uh, Tanvi, what I've known about you is one, but what I've experienced is another. And I would like to tell the viewers that having gone through a personal branding exercise with Tanvi and experiencing her professionalism, I can tell you that she's beyond many things that you can perceive of branding, because she made me refine my thoughts, and my own content got so refined. So where I thought I was an authority or I was expert in time management, she actually gave me ideas around time management. So I was wondering how she knows about all subjects so well, but she has the capability of diving deep and branding you according to your niche, according to your requirement. And that is where I think Tanvi stands heads and shoulders above others that I have known or experienced. So thank you, Tanvi. Thank you very much for that. Now I am going to just sort of rattle out a few names of people who are here, and I just flashed them while Tanvi was talking. So thank you, Ruchita, Anil Goswami, Kalpana, Sumeda, Suman, and who else is there? And Sapna Agarwal. So Sapna, you I think come in now. Thank you very much for all of you to be here. And while now we are going to continue with a little conversation around branding, could I ask all of you to keep putting in your questions, your comments, so that we can make it more interactive? And we don't want to tell you what we want to tell you, we want to tell you what you want to know, because the focus is always on you. And that's what I feel as a trainer. It's not about me, it's not about my subject, it's about my audience. What do they want to know? And if we can focus on what they want to know and give it to them, that is the crux of a trainer's success. So let me begin by asking you, Tanvi, that branding is of course important for any entrepreneur, isn't it? But what
Absolutely.
is it that makes it different for trainers? Like, what would you say? What would you say that a trainer needs to understand? Why, without branding, uh, he or she will not be able to make great headways? And why I'm saying this also is that a few years back, when I got a call from somebody who said that, and she's also done a good job with me for my personal branding. Her name is Aarti Narang. And she called me up and she said that I've worked with Robin Sharma's India organization. And she realized that there were foreign trainers who knew lesser than what our Indian trainers know, They have the knowledge, they have the content, they have excellent delivery, but still they don't do as well as those foreign trainers do. And she says the reason is that we in India don't brand ourselves. So I might that time I took it very lightly. I thought I can manage it on my own, and that's what also many trainers think. I can manage it on my own. Well, if you could have managed on your own, you would have done it by now. If you're still struggling to be in business, obviously you've not been able to do it on your own. And having a mentor, having a coach, having an expert to do things for you is very important. And that's what I got to know when I met Tanvi. She changed the way I thought about training, about my subject, about my branding totally. So over to you, Tanvi, and for you to tell us why is it important for trainers.
Absolutely. I think probably there isn't any other community of professionals who can benefit more from the concept or philosophy of personal branding, of thought leadership branding than trainers and coaches, right? Because everyone else, it's a part of their larger professional footprint. You know, if you're an executive, you're a CEO, you're an entrepreneur. It's just one of the things which is good to have, good to do over and above what you're really doing, because that's not your work. You know, it's good to have a strong personal brand over and above the amazing work that you do as a senior leader, as a CEO, as an entrepreneur, a startup founder. But when it comes to coaches, trainers, speakers, authors, people who are actually going to be in business because of the value that they can create, that they can come up with a unique and a differentiated perspective, and bring that value on the table, express it in a way that differentiates them from so much noise and clutter which is prevalent today in our digital business worlds that we live in, and offer that value to people in a way that actually not only makes them inimitable, unforgettable, but invincible in the way they've created that value. And that is why I love to talk about the concept of having your big brand idea. What is it that you do as a trainer, coach, author, speaker? Let's just call you a thought leader,
Yeah,
because, in my humble opinion, we all are thought leaders because you are in the business of creating value, adding value, and changing the way people think, do, believe, and impact their own ecosystems, right? So,
absolutely. Absolutely. Actually, I think the days of where people used to do copy pasting, that you learn from somebody and then you just do a little bit of adaptation, and that's what I've done in the beginning. And I used to also I had an acronym for it. I used to call it left, which means I learn from people, then I experience it, I filter it, and then I train and transform people. But I realized later that if others content, if you teach, if you learn and then teach the same thing, maybe a little differently, maybe adapt it, will not last long, because that content in some form or the other is available on Google all over. So I think what you've said is very right, that when you build your own content, but before building that own content, you mentioned some very interesting thing called that big idea. And Sam Cawthon calls it ODI, one disruptive idea. So, what is that one disruptive idea that we have, or that big idea that we have around which we want to build up our niche, our uniqueness? So, I would really like you to tell us, how do you do that? What is that one big idea, and how do you go about identifying that? How do you go about building that?
right. So, I'll complete my previous line of thought, before I address this
Oh,
question,
I'm
Brigade.
sorry if I interrupted. Oh,
No,
sorry.
no, no worries at all. It's the question that you had said, that why is there a distinction in the quality of success experienced by global thought leaders vis-a-vis Indian thought leaders or experts, especially when our Indian um, community is stronger, is more intelligent, is more capable, is more accomplished, right? We have more substance, so to speak. But we've just not been able to, more often than not, probably take that substance to the next level. So there are two thoughts around this. One is, I think, the way global counterparts think, the way they've been nurtured to think, is a key differentiation in the way they conduct their careers and businesses. We Indians have been ingrained from our parents and our societal pressures and education system and experiences that put your head down, do your work, don't make too much noise, don't ruffle too many feathers, don't stand out, don't be loud, don't be too opinionated. Just do what everyone else is doing and you'll survive. That's been the mentality ingrained in us, how to survive. We've never been taught how to have an opinion that really makes people uncomfortable or makes people think. We've never been taught as children that what to do differently so that you stand out, your talent stand out, your thinking process is able to trigger thinking processes in everyone else around you. You've been taught to, like you said, copy, paste, regurgitate everything that we've learned in our schooling and education system and just present it out there. And unfortunately, a lot of professional trainers, coaches, or any other people in the business of transformation still end up doing that because it's force of habit. They've not been taught to do it in a different way, which will probably yield different results for them. And that is the major distinction between why we have so many global thought leaders, right? Amazing philosophical bestsellers. When I say philosophical, it means that they have introduced a brand new philosophy of thinking or doing something differently than it was happening before. That is pure thought leadership manifestation. And we Indians have not been able to do that because we've not honestly being taught how to think like a thought leader. Period. Okay. So today, after 9 years of being in an industry of working with some amazing people, I've also realized this as I evolved from just being focused on personal branding, which is very important. I think if we really want to make a lasting difference in the next generation of leaders and thought leaders in our country, we need to start teaching people how to think like a thought leader, regardless of whether you are a coach, trainer, speaker, author, executive, CEO, entrepreneur, startup founder, or a student. The sooner you learn this skill, the better it will be for you to really take it to the next level in your respective careers. Because if I could learn the art of thinking differently, of taking what I know, what I want to know also, because I had a blank canvas when I got into this industry as a brand strategist. I learned how to think differently, to do the things what the global standards are of building your brand as a thought leader and implement those in India, do my own experiments around it, learn from my own passion and expertise around the topic and implement those things. I think people who are already there, far ahead of me in terms of their career milestones that they've had, if they could just learn that art of thinking differently, they will be miles ahead of the global counterparts. So, with that, I'll close the previous perspective. Now, to answer your question, how do you get that big idea out of you to the world? I think there are multiple components to getting your big idea um, into a mosaic form, right? You have to focus on few elements. One is your passion. Second is your vision. Third is the opportunity that you're seeing. These are the three most critical elements of your big idea. What is the confluence of these three things? What you love to do, what do you think you want to do with what you love to do, and is there actually an opportunity or a need or a gap or a lacune in your industry which you are able to perceive unlike anyone else, right? Because that's your perspective, it's the lens, the thought leadership lens with which you are looking at the world. Combine these three things together to identify what is it that you would love to do to bring about a change which is needed in the industry that will create substantial value for the people who will be benefited as recipients of that big value creation that only you and only you can offer. That is my very primitive recipe for a big idea. And then, of course, you build on that when you work with a coach or a mentor. But this is for starters what you want to think about and bring these three schools of thought together. Three other points which I strongly recommend everyone to think about is how will you channel your expertise? How will you channel your experience of life? And how will you channel your experiments of bringing together diverse schools of thoughts that matter to you to bring it together and create a brand new way of looking at things? The difference is always a brand new way of looking at things which has not been done before. And if people ask me to explain what is thought leadership in a very simple, elegant way for them to understand, because it's such an abstract philosophy as such, everyone wants to talk about thought leadership, but nobody wants to talk about how do you think like a thought leader or how do you become a thought leader. Three things I would recommend for everyone to start doing is ask yourself, what is it that I do today or I want to do tomorrow is going to be different than what others are doing in my industry? How is it going to be better than what I have been doing and what others are also doing in my industry? And how is it going to be novel than what others have been doing till date? If you crack these three elements of the value that you're creating in your profession as a trainer, coach, author, speaker, you will be miles ahead in the journey of thinking and manifesting your thought leadership in your profession.
Okay, so you said what is it that what I do will be different? That was one. And what are the other
Yes.
two things you said?
Yes. So the first thing is ask yourself, what is it that I do that is different from everyone else?
Yeah.
What is it that I do that is newer than everyone else? And what is it that I do that is better than everyone else? So these are the three checklists or parameters that your thought leadership should have. You should check all these boxes essentially when you're looking at your big idea. And you have to really go out and speak to people who are your mentors, a trusted circle. We usually have our trust circles, right? That we use as soundboards whenever we are coming up with something new that is revolutionary or disruptive in our own humble opinions. Run it by them. See if they also are checking each of these boxes for you to help you pilot and validate your big idea before you actually present it to the world. This is called seasoning of your ideas, not only internal but external perspective seasoning, and getting the important feed forward that you can incorporate in it by people whom you trust, whom you look up to, and whose opinions will add more gravitas to your idea.
So that was powerful. The three things that what do you do different from others? What is it that you'll do new? And how will you do it better than what others are doing? And I think that's a beautiful way of just very simply putting the idea of thought leadership. Because that was my next question, which she has answered, preempted me and answered earlier, was how do you get to thought leadership? So thank you for already telling us that. Now once you have got your big idea and you have really got into that culture, and I will add that it's not only about knowing what is the thought leadership. Now you start applying it and see in your niche where can you create this mindset of a thought leader. You have to, it is to become your DNA. It is not something that is artificial, it is not something that is superficial. It has to go deep into your thinking. Am I right?
Absolutely. You
So,
know that I have a philosophy that I have created around it. Okay. And it's very true. It's not just the thought process that needs to change. Your whole being has to shift around it. Because see, thinking is one of the faculties that we have, but we are spiritual beings, right? We feel before we think, or we think before we feel. It's like a catch 22. From a human lens that we look at it, we'll probably never be able to really define, what comes first, our thoughts or our feelings. Okay, unless you're really very self-aware of who we are and how our bodies and our soul and our mind functions. So there's a concept that I've created. I lovingly call it Tanvikshiki. So it's modeled on Chanakya's model of Anvikshiki, the science of thinking. And I've created a model that is apt for today's generation of thought leaders, where we have three pillars of thought leadership. The first pillar is spiritual thought leadership. What do you really want to do in your life? The higher purpose that we call about. The next pillar is strategic thought leadership. How will you do that? What kind of a strategy you need to adopt to accomplish that dream, vision, purpose, whatever drives you? And the third and the most important element today, because you're leading virtual life, is social thought leadership or social media thought leadership, to be very apt about it. How will you communicate your big idea, your work, your thought leadership to the world using the power of our social networks, both online and offline? That's why I call it social thought leadership, not social media thought leadership only, to create that impact into your ecosystems. So today, your thought leadership is a beautiful mosaic of your spiritual thought leadership, your strategic thought leadership, and your social thought leadership. And how do you actually manifest that and express it to the world? So, this entire philosophy is something that I have created, and I love to call it Tanvik Shiki because it was just too impossible to resist to brand this whole philosophy as something that is going to be my contribution or my legacy to the industry of thought leadership.
Thank you, Tanvi. That was absolutely powerful. And I just loved this your personal philosophy, and I think beautiful it is. So I
Thank
just put it there on the screen, the three pillars that she talked about. And I really like the last one, which is social, because today it is not only about communicating your idea, it is also about influencing. That we have to go beyond just communication. Is when I can, what I know, I can transform that, or I can transfer that knowledge to you in a same way that I do. So if I do it without any loss of clarity, it is good communication. But
you.
when I make you act on it, when you hear that and you start acting on it, I'm a good influencer. And that is what trainers need to be, because you are in the business of, or we are in the business of transforming lives. And transformation doesn't happen just by knowing. So you have to act on it, and that is what she's talking about. Absolutely brilliant, Tanvi. Now, Tanvi, tell me, how can someone take an idea to a legacy as the outcome of his or her personal branding journey? How do you take it forward from there?
Okay, and that's a great question, Brigadier. Thank you so much for asking that. Like I said, there are different stages of idea manifestation, idea dissemination, idea validation before you actually start idea transfer, right? In forms of your products, services, books, keynotes, podcasts, whatever it is in your case, whatever modalities of content sharing excite you, right? So when you have finished validating your idea with your trust circle and you're ready to present it to the world, what you need to do is create at least, I would say, 100 different versions of your idea to test it out with your ecosystem to see what sticks. And I'm saying when I say 100 different versions, 100 different ways in which you will communicate your idea, because we all are very different learners. Okay, people love to learn in different ways. They resonate with different touch points. It could be emotional, it could be rational, it could be intellectual for some people, it could be kinesthetic for some people. So we learn in different ways. That is why I strongly encourage people to convert that big idea into your message, which is your step one towards legacy building. Convert that idea into a message which is disseminated in 100 different versions of that idea and see what really sticks to people. That's step one. Once you've transformed your idea into a message and spread it out there, you will start seeing people accept some, reject some, debate with some part of your idea depending on their levels of consciousness. Welcome it all. You are just getting their inputs, solicited or unsolicited, to hone, season, and refine your idea better. Because see, ideas are constantly evolving. What you thought about something probably 3 years before, um, 3 years ago, is not the same today. So please always be in a state of mind of welcoming constructive critique for your ideas and the messages that you're putting out there. Once you've done that, you will start seeing that people are noticing these things about you, that you're not defendant about your idea. You're open to change and transformation and evolve the idea as per the need of the hour and as per your own personal evolution of consciousness. Okay? So, what they will do is they will start becoming your brand ambassadors. They will start helping you disseminate that idea because they start believing in you, they start trusting you, and they start seeing, obviously, over a period of time, how that idea is actually creating the promised impact in their own lives. Right? That is why they are a part of your ecosystem. That is why they are following you and your ideas. Once you've got that to happen, you start seeing a movement. That is when your message, okay, becomes a movement in your small ecosystem. When you have more people other than yourself support your idea, champion your idea, and spread your idea to the world. So that is when you realize that you've reached the tipping point, which is the phase two, from taking your idea to the message stage, putting it out there. From a message, it transforms into a movement when you have people support, champion, and share your ideas on your behalf because they have seen how beautifully they work in their respective ecosystems. And finally, when this happens over a period of time, when this movement starts spreading from your inner circle of, say, 50 or 100 or 500 people, and starts touching 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, a million people over a period of time, that is the makings of your legacy. And that is going to be inevitable if you have done the work at the onset of having a plan in place to take your idea, transform it into a message that sticks, that resonates, and more importantly, that shifts the way people do certain things and has created value in their life, so that they become the messengers of your idea and start creating a movement on your behalf. And that movement over a period of time becomes your legacy.
Wow, that's absolutely great. Uh, there are two things I get reminded of. One is that, yes, 2 years back, I used to say very, very loud that you have 86,400 seconds in a day and no more, no less. And now I found that no, that is not, you can get more. And I broke that myth of people that you only have 24 hours. No, I said you can even have 8,000 hours in a day. And that
Wow.
is when you delegate, when you outsource. That means you're buying that time of other people and making them do your work. So you are in a day able to produce much more. So when you came to compounding of time, and you know, we have discussed all these with you, Tanvi, what happened was we came out of the old belief systems, and that very fact that your mind was stuck to I only have 24 hours, and I said, oh no, we can create more number of hours in a day for us. And the second thing, when you talk about legacy, it was standing on the stage of my train the super trainer program about 4 years back, 5 years back. I made a statement. I said, I'm going to live 1,000 years, and the way I'm going to live 1,000 years is that all that I am not able to do, I'm going to make all of you do what is my unfinished task. So I'm going to leave all my knowledge here. And Jogesh came out with a wonderful thing when he told me one day that the wealthiest place in this on this planet is the graveyard, because that is where people leave their knowledge and go away. And I said, I'm going to die empty. And that's the title of a book, Die Empty, which means I'm going to leave everything on this planet. I'm not taking anything up. Whatever I've learned, I'm going to leave it here. So when I leave it here, for all people who get trained by me, they are able to train many more people. So that means I'm extending my life through their life. And that is legacy. That is my way of looking at legacy. So thank you very much. And at this time, I want to take a little break to say that there are very good responses coming up in our comments, and I'm very happy to see this type of participation. And Tanvi, thank you very much for creating that type of a discussion where people are coming out with good comments. So comments, I've been putting them on the screen, but I've held the questions because I think I just want to tell you all who have put questions there, just wait. We are going to come back to Tanvi to answer those questions. But let us go in the flow, and let me ask Tanvi the next question that is in my mind. And it is there on the screen. How can personal branding help trainers to stand out? Now, this is one question that all trainers have been asking me. And
Right.
in our train the online trainer course that we talk a lot about it, and we make people practice it. We make the trainers actually learn how to stand out from the noise that is around. There's so much, and particularly in the pandemic, you we all saw, I mean,
True.
there were too many webinars, there were too many free webinars going on, and in that crowd, how do you stand out? And why would somebody pay you for your webinar when even people like Tony Robbins and Marshall Goldsmith and all are doing free webinars? So there was a way of creating identity for yourself. You're creating that niche, creating that uniqueness, that we still had people doing paid webinars during the pandemic only because they learned how to stand out. So,
True.
Tanvi, we have that expert opinion from you.
Absolutely. I think, again, I'll go back to the whole global thought leaders vis-a-vis Indian thought leaders analogy over here. What global thought leaders do beautifully compared to Indian experts, okay, or Indian thought leaders in the making, is they know how to extract their thought leadership, position it as a disruptive way of looking at XYZ, whatever's happening in the past, or disrupting the status quo, as somebody put it in the chat box very beautifully, and paint the picture of what that will do for you. right? So not only they are creating a better way of doing something that has now become obsolete, but they're telling people if you adopt this, this is the kind of impact that you will be able to create, and you don't want to miss that. So it's kind of a FOMO also, fear of missing out, that they use as a thought leadership strategy. They want to create awareness, excitement, and the fear of missing out into the big idea, so people are able to adopt it faster than what it would take. Okay, we Indians, what we do is, unfortunately, most of us have always stuck to tried, tested certifications, modules, whatever people have been doing for a very long time. Let's learn that because it works, and let's put it out there. How will that differentiate you from thousands of other people doing the same work? What is it that you are bringing onto the table that those certification programs, those modules, those curriculum don't bring on the table? And that becomes the DNA of your personal brand, of your thought leadership. So, the first step I always urge everyone to think about is, what are you doing differently? Okay. And it doesn't come to you overnight, because we've not been thinking about this for the longest of times. It's a journey to evolve into the mindset of a thought leader. But for now, if I have to give you all a quick, tactical way to stand out based on what you are already doing today, I use a formula to help people position themselves based on the work that they are doing, the audience they are serving, and the impact they are making, because these are the three most critical things that go into the making of your personal brand positioning as a thought leader. What is it that people know about you? Who are those people? And more importantly, what do you do for them? So this formula is called the personal brand manifesto, because you're actually manifesting this value creation for them. And it's very simple. There are three elements that you have to think of when you're crafting your personal brand manifesto, and you can use this in your LinkedIn headlines, in your positioning, in your brand taglines, whatever it is. There are any creative ways of using your personal brand manifesto. But the most important part is crafting it. Okay, so the three elements are: what is the action that you are doing, or the value you're creating, whatever you want to talk about, helping people, empowering people, inspiring people, teaching people, disrupting something, whatever that action you are doing, focus on that. Okay, what is the audience that you're serving by doing that action? Who is your target audience? Is your target audience HR leaders, business heads, entrepreneurs, startup founders, new moms, or moms who want to get back to workspace, or artists, or doctors, or paramedical staff? Who is your target audience? Okay. And third, and the most important element, what will that value creation that you're offering to them do for them? What is the audacious impact that you're promising to them? Three elements, again, I'll repeat, is the action that you're promising, the audience you are serving, and the audacious impact you are claiming to make better than anyone else who does similar work. And when these three elements of your brand, your expertise come together, that is when you stand out from everyone else. Because you will not have people having an identical mosaic of each of these three elements, because the elements that go into the crafting of these are so unique to you. When you're writing your these three elements, you will be tapping internally, you'll be doing a lot of introspection to extract what are you doing, what action are you doing. And your action is driven from your passion, purpose, vision, what is driving you every single day to do that kind of work, action, or create that value. Your audience will be defined because based on the journey that you've had, the work that you're doing, or more importantly, the work that you want to do as well, what people will benefit the most from that, right? Get clarity of that, because you don't want to speak to people who are not your ideal target audience. So, for example, in my case, I know who my target audience is. It's people who have a disruptive big idea, or want to take that inkling of an idea or thought into a disruption, whether he's an entrepreneur or a CXO or an author or a speaker or a coach, it does not matter to me. But that's the kind of people I like to work with. Right now, they can come from different walks of life. So identify who your target audience is. qualitatively and quantitatively, to communicate to them, and finally tell them what is it that you can do for them, the audacious impact that nobody else can do it the way you do. Okay.
Wow, that is profound, absolutely profound. And I think you answered it so well. I have one more question, and we are a little short of time, but I think the way I can see responses from people and the way we are enjoying it, I think we'll continue because we're not going to cut short content because of time, because people are enjoying it. So, are you okay, Tanvi, with spending a little more time with us?
Definitely, I would love to answer questions that I can see trickling down in the chat
Yeah.
box.
So now I would like to ask you another question, and that is, what do you think are the most common mistakes that trainers make when they are managing their personal brand and shaping up their career?
Okay. Um, I have observed a few things that trainers or coaches do that is so indistinct, right? Because that really makes them become invisible and get lost in the herd. The first thing is that they don't invest the time. Okay, I'm not talking about money, but invest the time to understand what makes them unique, what makes them different, and what makes them hopefully a thought leader in the making. So that is the first mistake. They think that let's just adopt the tried and tested method because it's worked for everyone. They've seen 20 other trainers do similar trainings and coachings and earn a decent living. So if somebody's aspiration is just to earn a decent living, that's absolutely the right way to go. But if someone's aspiration is to create a niche for themselves, create a category for themselves, become a global voice on something, change the way something happens in the industry, and create a new way of thinking, doing, working, being, living, loving, anything that you want to do differently, then you're not going to be able to do it the way you think you have been doing till date. That's the first mistake. Second, most of the trainers and coaches, in terms of the content that they create, is very vanilla. Let me call it that way. It's a very safe, tried and tested content. They don't challenge themselves to go beyond their comfort zones and create sometimes ambitious, aggressive, thought provoking, or challenging or disruptive content that will make their ecosystem experience their ideas that they have in a different perspective or light. And third, and the most important mistake I think that I've seen people do is they don't really invest in building their brand with the global strategy. They don't study what global trainers, coaches, thought leaders have done. They look up to everyone that they admire. They maybe follow them. They learn from them. They try and execute things the way they do, but they don't learn the art of building the personal brand like a thought leader by studying their career and journey, seeing what they have done at what milestones in their life, and then adapting that learning to their own career and life. I think these are the three mistakes I have seen people do time and again in this industry.
Thank you, Tanvi. And I just want to add very quickly one or two more which come to me from my uh, 50 years of training experience now, 34 in the army and now 16 in the corporate world. See, one mistake that I have seen, and I have also made this mistake in the beginning, and I've realized it later, is when we start comparing ourselves with other trainers. Oh, he's doing this and I'm not doing so. I must do what he's doing. I think if you are a thought leader and if you are building your own brand, then you are you and he is he. And let him do what he's doing. While it's very good to take good ideas and adapt them to yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. But to be and another thing which Tanvi said is that even when you copy and you like it, you only see the tip of the iceberg, where you only see the glamour part, you only see success. But below the iceberg, below that, in the water, the the sixth, seventh part of the iceberg are the struggles, the failures that you didn't see, because that trainer, to reach where you are envying him, also went through his struggles, went through his failures, challenges, and how did he come out of them? So if you do that, and like she said, study the complete thing, that is one mistake. Second, I think is people are very insecure. They feel that if I say this, people will take away my idea. And I am so happy giving any idea to anyone, because if you're going to copy my idea, firstly, I feel very happy that my idea is good, because nobody copies a bad idea. So if you copy an idea, I think my idea was good. And secondly, I am not going to live with this idea all my life. I am evolving every day. So if you copy my idea today, but tomorrow I've got to get a new idea coming up. So even if you copy all my ideas, you're going to be following me in any way. Why should I be scared? I always give this example. When people say, I've had people ask me, sir, आपने ये तो वीडियो भी रिकॉर्ड कर लिया, उसने कर लिया आपका, तो सारा कंटेंट ले गया. So I said, yeah, I also saw Devanand's film 12 times, but I could never act like Devanand. If somebody could take my content or see my workshop and copy that, God bless him. If a client goes to him, and I'm scared that my insecurity means that I think he'll take away my client. I don't need a client who's so fickle minded, or I don't need a client who goes in for a copied content. So if a client is happy with a carbon copy and he leaves the original behind, I don't need that client. I look for better clients. And the last thing I would like to say, you said it missed time. I think even in investing money, I have seen lots and lots of trainers, and I can tell you, on my fingertip, these people will never buy. They will come for all. There are people who have come for all my TTST programs. I did 3 in Bombay. There are few of them who came on all the 3. They made lots and lots of notes, but they never came for any paid program. They will not even buy a 500 rupees worth of a master class. They will, but if you give it free, they'll come. So I think there is a need to invest time, effort, energy, and money. Team, I call it TEEM. Time, effort, energy, money. All these four things have to be invested by a trainer who wants to become a thought leader. Any of these 4 investments missing, you will not be able to reach there completely.
Absolutely.
So, having said that, let me come to my
Just one
last.
perspective to
Yeah.
add over here, okay, before we move on to the closing question, Brigadier. It's something I have learned it from the best in business, and I truly believe in it. If you do not invest, okay, in your own education, in your own learning, in your own growth, or mentoring, or whatever profession consulting that you think monetarily, okay, because you don't think it's worthy of an investment. So, for example, um, if you had to invest a lakh of rupees in a coaching program that will help you build your brand over the next 6 to 8 months, but you don't think it is worthy enough to be invested in your own brand, but you expect your clients to pay you that kind of money, there's such an imbalance of energy flow because you don't believe it's worthy enough an investment in your own outgrowth as a person and a professional, but you expect people to value you at that monetary value and give you that kind of money to learn from you. Unless you make
Absolutely.
investment in yourself, you obviously will not grow and be that competent to deserve or demand that kind of money from others. It's just a karmic imbalance, right? Because you don't think the value or worth is there, but you expect others to give you that value and worth. It's never going to happen. It's a spiritual law of money. It's never going to happen.
When you say this, I so resonate with it, because I've seen people do that. And while doing one TTST program in Chennai, I did this calculation where people, when I asked them, how much do you expect to earn from a particular seminar of yours? And they came out with figures. And then when I was telling them that if you want to continue with this program and come with me for 3 months to do a program, nobody was prepared to come. So I said, you expected this to happen, but you're saying that my program is expensive. So you
Right.
tell me you're trying to learn from me, but you think your program is you're prepared to accept, or you thought that you deserve more, and when I'm asking you for that, you think I don't deserve it. So what you would just said, I think it's I just love this word karmic imbalance, and that's what I'm going to use next time, because that sounds, it gives a very very good idea of there's a
Yes.
energy flow imbalance, and it'll never happen. I agree with you, it'll never happen. So Right. So I think I have only one more question, and I don't think I should leave that behind. So let's also ask that before we go to the questions from the viewers. So here the question is, how do you create original content regularly to grow your brand? Because things keep evolving. So I also find in all my workshops, what is relevant last year is probably not relevant now. So you need to keep updating and growing your content regularly, and that should also be in alignment with your brand. And sometimes you feel that even your brand needs to change because of certain environmental changes. So how do you cater for that?
Okay. In interest of time, because I really want to take other questions also, I will leave people with a framework. There are seven types of content buckets that I strongly advise my clients to create on a monthly or a quarterly basis to plan and prepare an editorial of content calendar for managing their brands on social media or adding value to their ecosystems via their newsletters and stuff like that. These are the seven types of content buckets all thought leaders must have in their arsenal of content. Okay. First is your big idea. Like I said, you need to define that big idea. You need to have 100 different versions in which you will communicate that to resonate with people who absorb knowledge and wisdom in different ways. Second, stories of successes, failures, inspiration, motivation, highs, lows, whatever stories or anecdotes you can mine from your life. The best things that happened to you, the worst things that happened to you, the biggest lessons or the things that you've done for others, selflessly, all those stories can be amazing thought leadership material for you because stories connect beyond the scope of time and space and generations and civilizations. So use stories of people that you look up to create content and your lessons or learnings from stories of other people if you're choosing that. Your own quotables. Take what you think, what you believe, what you live your life by, your core values, right? Perhaps, or the belief system that you have garnered in your life because of what life has taught you and what you've taught yourself. Convert this into strong, powerful quotables because this becomes your core thought leadership manifesto. Right? This is what people will start knowing you for the way you present certain ideas to them in form of quotes or powerful punchlines or statements. If you don't like to call it quotes, it depends on how you think about it. The fourth element is then insights. Your insights on subject matter of your expertise or topics or industries that you are interested in, your insights. And this is something that evolves over a period of time because there's always something new happening around us. So having our insights on those latest trends, developments, news, etc., is something that will keep on helping you create evergreen content over a period of time. Something that will not be done and dusted. You can always have insights on latest happenings around you. Most important element, which I think out of this entire seven content bucket, is your philosophy. Like I shared earlier, that after being in this industry for a decade, I created my own philosophy of Tanikshiki. The art of strategic thinking, which brings together three elements of spiritual, strategic, and social thought leadership. What is your philosophy of doing the work that you're doing? Create something new that will guide, that will drive everything you do in a unique way that nobody has thought of it in that way. Okay, philosophy is extremely important um, strategy to have a philosophy in the journey of thought leadership and personal brand transcendence, okay, to the level that you wish to go to. Sixth is interviews. Interview amazing people in your industry, how BSB is doing right now, and create content that adds different perspective, value, and life-changing experiences to people in your ecosystem. And last but not the least, perspective, how you are creating different perspectives, how that is disrupting the status quo, how that is challenging obsolete ways of doing things. Share that with your ecosystem. These are the seven types of contents that you should be creating regularly to cement your brand's position as a thought leader for the work that you're doing. I hope this helps.
Oh, really? That's very, very good. And I have tried to catch up with the speed of typing. to be able to uh, just a second, where is it? Save. Yeah, okay. So here is the seventh one. So I've tried to give you all the where is it gone? Yeah, sorry, no, oh no, it's gone to the okay. Sorry, this gone niche. Seven perspectives has gone down. So
No worries.
these are yeah. So these are the seven elements which Tanvi has given us a beautiful framework for creating new content and keep creating it. And actually, if you do it properly, any quote comes to you, put it in the quote bucket, and any perspective comes to your mind, put it in the perspective bucket. So if you have those buckets, and then you can even what she has taught me is you balance it out on a social media, that once your quote is going and some other time your story is going, and then you balance them out, then your ecosystem keeps getting the best out of what it is. So thank you very much. And now I'm going to get to some questions which are there. First question was from Anil Goswami, when you just started, and he said what a great start. What is relation of achieving personal branding with commitment and consistent? Is it dynamic?
Okay, thank you so much, Anil, to begin with. Um, the relationship between personal branding is, along with commitment and consistency, is simple. You will not be able to build your personal brand without commitment and consistency in the work that you do, or in the content that you create, or in the value delivery that you do. Okay, your personal brand essentially is nothing but the reputation you end up building as an expert, a thought leader, a disruptor, a change maker, a history creator, whatever it is, right? By doing the work, everything else is internal. The value creation and delivery is external, which needs to happen with the right clarity, a strategic clarity, let me put it that way, with the right commitment and consistency done over a period of time. That is why brands are not built in a day or a week or a month or a year. Brands are built, cherished, and celebrated over a period of time.
Thank you so much. And the next question is from Suman. Suman Murthy says, how can we organically build community by branding? Any tips or suggestions?
Sure. So, a great question. I think tribe building is the epicenter of thought leadership. Okay. You are adding value to a small section of people to begin with, okay, to test and validate your big idea, your brand. Ensure that they know what is in it for them when you're in the initial journeys of building your tribe or community. Ensure that your messaging, when I said idea converted or transformed into a message, that translation is not getting lost. You are able to communicate to them what is in it for them. Unless that clarity is there in their hearts and minds, you will not end up having a loyal tribe of followers, because at the end of the day, every human being is self centered. They want to know why they should pay any attention to you. The first point is to begin with clarity, what's in it for your target audience. Communicate that in the different versions of your content and your big idea that we discussed time and again over a period of time. Encourage them to endorse, support, champion, and share and spread your ideas. Once you've seen that they have become an unshakable part of your community and they are always there supporting you, cheering you on, and encouraging your ideas and giving you the feedback on how those ideas are actually having an impact in their life. Then you move on to the phase two of asking for them to support and spread your ideas with their ecosystems to pay it forward.
Thank you very much. The next question is from Ruchita Jain, and she says, how do corporate trainers brand themselves if they are involved in product based training? What can be the top three areas they should pay utmost attention to? I think it's a very good question.
Yes, it's a very good question. Hi, Ruchita. So first thing, I understand product-based trainings. Probably, I'm assuming these are certificate programs that you've done as a trainer, and the curriculum is very standard. There's not much you can do around changing that. So please correct me if I'm wrong. If this is exactly what you're wanting me to address, or when you're saying product-based training, are you like a trainer, to teach some organizations how to use certain software? So I'll appreciate some clarity on that if you're still around. But I will address the former first, till I wait for your clarification in the chat box. If you are someone who is focused on just certification based training, that you've learned something, you've certified into something, and now you are training people on that. Okay, look at it from this perspective. I share this three framework before as well. The first is your core expertise. Now, that certification has become your expertise. Okay, the experience that you've had of training, coaching, mentoring, transforming people using that expertise. And the third element is your experiments. I think this is what most of us fail to do. We don't experiment. Okay. So every time you want to do something different, experiment with content, with a new idea, a new perspective. So while you deliver your standard curriculum based program, always infuse a new module in it to say this is a brand new way of looking at eating, which I have learned, I have tried, tested, and it works. And slowly and steadily, when you start experimenting with ideas, content, and delivery, you will have probably at the end of 2 years this amazing wealth of new ideas built on your existing curriculum that you can create as a brand new course that you have come up with. Okay, this is what I would tell you to start doing differently than everyone else who just sticks to the curriculum. And I'll just check if there is something that you've written. You said yes, true. So I'm assuming I've answered your question. Please do tell me if I have or not.
Okay, and just to give a little perspective to Ruchita, I must have, I don't have a count, but maybe more than 400 to 500 HR people I must have dealt with in my 16 years in the corporate world. And I have seen that about 80 to 90% were just doing it like a job. So they were doing exactly what Ruchita is saying, that, they've got product based training, they've got their own modules, and they just deliver. So I call these people CDMs, a content delivery machine, that they have a
Right.
content and they are just there to deliver, so there's nothing of yours coming into it. But then I have seen only those 10-15% people in the same HR category, or the same in-house trainers in companies, who either developed a different style or different delivery module, or like what Tanvi was saying is that, you say this is how differently you can do. The content remains what, because if your company is giving you content, but it is not, you can shape around some style in that, which becomes yours. And there are two, three people, and one particularly I can't help naming him, a guy called Kavi Arasu, who was working for Asian Paints. He was the HR head. I'm telling you, he had changed the way that company thought about HR. He had made this entire, so he is a facilitator, and he brought about a facilitation process in that company. When he demonstrated how he could do it for HR, and the CEO liked it, that he said we'll have the same model being followed by everyone. He made everyone in that organization change the way you did things, not only training. So that is what, if you follow what Tanvi has said, Ruchita, you can create your own personal brand in a corporate environment, where you can influence that corporate company to start doing things the way you say. And then your CEO will not treat you like one of those couple of functional heads. He will take you as his right hand person, his core person, who you'll become his thought leader or his core advisor. And that
Yeah.
is what you can do, and very few people are able to do that, because I've come across many others also, but this is one I really feel he stands out. Okay, I've got one more question, and I'm not putting it up. It's about COVID and all, and I'm not going to put that question up, Dr. Lab Singh. That's not what we are discussing here. So, but this one is again by Lab Singh, and I think, how far do you agree that life skills play a major role in personal branding?
Very much, Dr. Singh. Life skills, when you're talking about, if you're talking or referring to soft skills, right? Your whole brand experience when you are with people, that's when those soft skills or life skills or your basic personality. Okay, I'm just going to call it personality skills because life skills is very ambiguous. It's how you interact with people, how you treat them, what kind of kindness, compassion, humility, thoughtfulness, and I think these are life skills or personality skills for me. How do you manifest all those skills when you interact with people, the empathy, the future forwardness, thinking. And I think I really want to answer this question that you've put up about the COVID as well. I think that one trait, that one life skill or personality skill missing in most of us, from an Indian context, is we don't think about the day after tomorrow. We are very short sighted. We think about today and we think about tomorrow. If we would have, as a country, thought about the day after tomorrow, when this whole when this whole pandemic also was sprung upon us, we wouldn't have been in the boat that we are in today. Okay, but enough about that. But yes, that is what I think. Those are the personality skills that help you stand out from everyone else.
Thank you so much, Tanvi. And I think now we've already gone much beyond our time. But I think everyone is so engrossed, and I was enjoying the conversation that I didn't feel like putting a stop to it. But then everything good also must come to an end. Thank you very much. I think it was excellent. Now, for the viewers, for your very, very good participation, we are so happy. We're going to continue this discussion in a very different way. And we have something called FGL, which is focused group learning. And focused group learning is where we have a focused group and a focused subject. And the focused group here is trainers, and the subject here is branding for trainers. Now we're going to get into a mastermind type of a format on Thursday, and that is on the 6th of May. So 6th of May, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., 90 minutes of solid value, where Tanvi is going to share with us some perspectives which are going to be group discussed in a mastermind in a group, and then those group ideas will be discussed with Tanvi. So we are going to go deeper. Now it will not be question answers, it will be your questions, and we are going to go deeper into all the points. And very, very important that you take notes of all, and that's why we have been putting up these little captions. You can also go through this recording again, whether you are on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, and come prepared for this FGL, focused group learning, on Thursday, the 6th of May. And today we didn't have Jugesh with us, so Jugesh will be with us. So Jugesh, Jain, myself, and Tanvi, the three of us together, will give you our perspectives on how branding fits into that overall mosaic that a trainer is supposed to be having or building around himself or herself. And let's see this happening. To all those who want to join, please give us your messages in the chat box, and we are going to get back to you with the link. Why I'm not giving you the link right now is that we have a limit of 25 people. We don't take more than that. So we, really speaking, don't take everyone. We want like-minded people. We do have a little bit of maybe question answer. So if you show us your intention, we will select 25 people and have them on Thursday, 6th May, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And if you have enjoyed this discussion with Tanvi, and you can see what more depth we are going to go into, and you're going to really take this to another level, then you have no choice but to be there on Thursday on a Zoom call, where we will get into breakout rooms, and we will be now more interactive with all of us seeing each other on videos. So thank you very much. And Tanvi, once again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your expertise. And another thing I love about you, Tanvi, is that you open up your heart and give it. Uh, Sorry for saying that I have had some people who have kept, just a few things they've said, and I know that they're keeping it back because that is what they want to sell. But whenever this is the fourth or fifth time I'm having you on a show, first we had it for a knowledge hub. I remember a long time back. You know, I mean, you just pour out what you know, and that resonates with me, and that's why we are good friends. We are here to give to people, and it's not about selling; it's about serving. The
Yes.
moment you think that your business is all about serving and money is a byproduct of it, you do business differently. So thank you very much, and very, very kind of you for your time, for your effort, for your energy, and of course, no money. So
Thank you so much, Brigadier. Before I wrap up, I do have something to share with you because we are going to be meeting again, I think, next week on Thursday. There's something I want to give everyone with your permission, Brigadier,
Yes,
of course.
sure, sure. It'll be very good. Yes. So please do that. You can give it to us and we'll pass it on. Or if you can put it in the chat box right now, you can do that.
Yes. So let me just figure out how to do that. I'm not able to comment
Okay.
over here.
If you are not able to do it, there's a private chat. You give it to me and I'll copy paste.
Yes, I'll just tell you. Because I'll be seeing most of you all again next week, I want you all to come prepared, okay,
Yeah,
and take the
that'll be great.
conversation to the next level. So please go on to my website. It's very simple, tanvibhat.com. That's tanvibhat.com. Okay, Brigadier will kindly put a link in the chat box for you all
I'm
to
just
just
doing
click.
that. Yeah, I'm just doing that. Yeah.
You will see there's an ebook over there which I have created for everyone to begin their journey because it's something I spoke about today so much, how to think like a thought leader. And this is a book which will help you begin your journey of thought leadership, of personal branding by taking that very first step that most of us don't know where to start, how to think like a thought leader. Okay, please go ahead, get a copy of that book. And you know what? It's not just a book that you have to read and suddenly you'll have this brand new perspective of life. It is a playbook. So what you can do is actually do all the exercises that I've created for you all to shift your thought process from just a leader to a thought leader, from just a trainer to a thought leader in your ecosystem, and come back with more questions, inputs, insights, or anything else that you would like me to help you with when we meet on the coming Thursday. And I hope you are one of those 25 people who do the work with the playbook and come back prepared to really transcend your own journey of personal branding and thought leadership. I can't wait to meet you all next Thursday. Thank you so much.
So before you go, I just want to show you a few comments. Sumeda says very insightful session. Thanks,
Thank
Brigadier Sir and Tanvi. Brahmra, and I've just met her recently. She is also saying great session. Anil
you.
Goswami, of course, he's a very strong TTOT member and a senior citizen. So he's my age, and he keeps talking. You know how he has really prepared to learn so much. Uh, Sumeda, okay, she says, I want to join, please. Surely, please tell us. Um, Anil Goswami, yes, sorry, I already said that. Uh, 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 uh. Then there are some more people. Let me just see, I'm not missing out anyone. Uh, Prabha, Jyoti, and okay, that's it. So thank
Sure.
you very much. Thank you all for your comments, and I really loved that. And see you on Thursday, 6th May. And please go to tanvibhat.com, do this little exercise. And if you have done that, you will come and get more. We want every second of those 90 minutes to be powerful for you. And that's what we are going to do. So, a free masterclass of absolutely powerful content with an expert like Tanvi Bhatt. And if you are a trainer, why would you leave that opportunity? Is something that I really want to understand. So thank you very much, Tanvi. Thank you. And thank you. Thanks to
Thank
all
you.
of you. Thanks to all of you for being here. And love to see you on Thursday.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Take care of yourselves and your families. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye bye.